The planet was alive with colors and sounds that felt new to Adam. He had been on this alien world for just a few days, exploring the strange lands with other humans who had arrived. The air smelled different here, like fresh earth mixed with a hint of something sweet. Everything was bigger, more vibrant, and in some ways, more beautiful than anything he had seen back home on Earth. Adam was one of the many humans sent to this place for a peaceful mission, helping humans and aliens build a better future together. But the more he explored, the more out of place he felt. His mind was always trying to catch up with the new things he was learning. The way the aliens spoke, how they looked, and even the way they moved, it was all so different. He walked through a busy market on the main square, surrounded by creatures of all shapes and sizes. Some aliens had scales, others had feathers, and a few had skin that shimmered like the stars. It was a lot to take in. Adam tried his best to blend in, but it was hard. His human features felt so small and ordinary compared to these beings that could control elements or move faster than. His eyes could follow Dot as he wandered. Something caught his eye. At first, he thought it was just another passing alien, but then he stopped. She was standing near a stall, watching something in the distance. She was different from everyone else around her. The alien girl had long, flowing hair that seemed to glow under the sunlight, a soft green hue that was unlike anything Adam had ever seen. Her skin was smooth, like marble. In her eyes, those eyes were like deep pools of silver that shimmered with mystery. Adam didn't mean to stare, but it was impossible not to. His breath caught in his throat, and before he could stop himself, he whispered under his breath, "What a beautiful girl." He didn't expect anyone to hear. The market was loud, filled with chatter, the sound of alien machines whirring, and people bargaining. But somehow, he felt a sudden shift in the air. Turning around to continue walking, Adam froze. The girl wasn't just in his line of sight anymore. She was right in front of him, her gaze locked with his. She had heard him. She was standing only a few feet away, and the soft smile on her face made Adam's heart race. For a moment, he couldn't say anything. He wasn't sure if he should apologize or if he should say something else. His mind was blank. The words he had whispered earlier felt like they were echoing in his head. What a beautiful girl, he had said, and now she was standing before him, not angry or upset, but curious. She was calm, graceful, and her smile never wavered as she observed him. Adam felt embarrassed but also mesmerized. This wasn't just an ordinary alien. He could tell there was something special about her, something different. Her presence was so powerful that it made the crowded market feel quiet. "Hello," she said softly, her voice gentle but confident. It wasn't what he expected. The aliens on this planet spoke in various ways, some of them using machines to help with translation. But this girl's voice was clear, and it felt as though she was speaking directly into his mind. "Hi," Adam replied, his voice a little shaky. He wasn't sure how to act. Was this normal? Could this alien girl actually be talking to him like this? He didn't know Dot around here, he asked, trying to sound casual. He figured it was a good way to break the silence. Lyra's eyes twinkled, but she didn't immediately answer. Instead, she glanced at the people around them and then back at him. "I'm not. I come from a place far beyond this planet. My kind is not often seen in these parts. We have a different purpose here." Adam's curiosity grew. He had heard stories about the various alien species, but he hadn't met anyone like Lyra before. She seemed so different from the other aliens he'd seen, more reserved, more thoughtful. "Different purpose?" he asked, intrigued. "What do you mean?" Lyra gave him a small smile. "It's complicated, but perhaps we can talk more later." "Adam, I am not in a rush." She turned her gaze to the side as if looking at something far in the distance. Adam couldn't help but feel drawn to her calmness. Her mysterious nature, it all made him want to know more. He didn't want this moment to end, but before he could say anything else, Lyra looked back at him, her expression serious for the first time. "The world you see is not as peaceful as it seems. There are forces at play that you cannot yet understand." Adam frowned, his curiosity piqued. He had no idea what she meant, but the way she said it made him think that this encounter was no coincidence. There was more to this alien girl, and more to this world, than he could ever have imagined. Adam watched Lyra as she turned away from him, her eyes glancing towards something far in the distance. For a moment, he thought she might leave, but instead, she simply stood still, as if waiting for something. Adam could feel his heart still racing from their brief interaction. His mind kept replaying her words, "Perhaps we can talk more later." He wasn't sure what to do next. Lyra was unlike anyone he had ever met. She wasn't like the other aliens he had encountered, who seemed more focused on technology or trade. She felt different, more thoughtful, as if she carried some deep wisdom within her. Adam hesitated for a moment, then decided to follow her. He didn't know why, but something about her presence was pulling him forward, almost as if he needed to know more. He didn't want the moment to end. Taking a deep breath, he stepped closer to her. "Lyra, wait," he called softly. She turned, her gaze meeting his once more. The soft silver in her eyes seemed to sparkle as she regarded him, and for the briefest moment, Adam saw a flicker of something almost unreadable in her expression, something like concern or curiosity. "Yes, Adam?" she asked, her voice calm, with just a hint of amusement. "Where are we going?" Adam asked, not sure if she had intended to leave. He had seen her glance toward the sky and the horizon as if something was calling her. Maybe he was just imagining things, but it didn't seem like she was planning to stay in the market much longer. "I'm not going anywhere specific," Lyra said, her smile returning. "But I thought you might want to see something that most visitors don't get the chance to. A place not far from here. I want to show you something." Adam's curiosity was growing, but so were his questions. What could she possibly want to show him, and why was she taking an interest in him, of all people? He was just one of the many humans sent here to help, nothing special. Yet she was speaking to him as though he were someone important. What's so special about this place? Adam asked. Lyra's smile deepened, and she motioned for him to follow her. "You'll see. Just trust me. The journey itself is more important than the destination." Without waiting for his reply, she started walking, her movements graceful and fluid. Adam had no choice but to follow. They walked through the bustling market together, the strange noises of the alien world filling the air around them. But it was as though they were in their own bubble, the rest of the world fading away. Adam couldn't help but feel like this was more than just a casual walk. As they left the market behind, the scenery changed. The buildings and shops were replaced by wide open spaces with tall, otherworldly trees reaching for the sky. The air seemed fresher here, and the ground beneath Adam's feet felt softer. It was peaceful, a stark contrast to the busy market they had just left. They walked for a while, the silence between them comfortable. Lyra's presence was calming, and Adam felt himself growing more at ease. He couldn't explain why, but her company felt natural, as if they had known each other much longer than they actually had. Eventually, they reached the edge of a large clearing. In the center of the clearing was a small, crystal-clear lake, its waters shimmering with an ethereal glow. The surface of the water was perfectly still, and the light from the twin moons above reflected off the lake like a mirror. It was a sight that took Adam's breath away. "This is beautiful," Adam whispered, barely able to believe his eyes. He had seen some stunning places in his life, but nothing compared to this. The glow of the lake seemed to carry a peaceful, almost magical energy. Lyra nodded, her expression soft as she looked at the water. "It is, but this place holds more than just beauty. It holds memories, ancient memories." She turned to face Adam, her silver eyes gazing deeply into his. "It's a place where time feels different, where the past and future seem to blend together. For those who listen closely, they can hear the whispers of the land." Adam looked at her, confused. "Whispers?" Lyra smiled gently, her voice soft and thoughtful. "It is a way of speaking, but not with words. The land speaks through feelings, through visions, through memories that are shared. Only a few people can hear it, and even fewer understand it." Adam frowned, trying to grasp the meaning of what she was saying. This sounded like something out of an ancient legend, So, you hear these whispers? Lyra nodded again, looking. At the lake, yes, sometimes. It's a gift that my people have. We understand the flow of time in a way that others do not. The lake is one of the places where those whispers are the loudest. Adam wasn't sure what to say. He had so many questions, but he didn't want to seem rude. That's incredible. But why are you telling me all of this? Lyra turned back to him, her eyes softening. Because you're different, Adam. You felt it, haven't you? The pull, the connection. Adam hesitated, but deep down, he knew she was right. Since he had met her, something had felt different. Something had changed inside him. He couldn't quite explain it, but it was like he had opened a door to something new, something he hadn't even known existed. And now, standing here with Lyra, surrounded by the peaceful energy of the lake, he realized that he didn't want to turn back. The night passed quietly. The lake's calm surface reflected the twin moons above, casting an eerie but peaceful light on the surroundings. Adam and Lyra didn't speak much after the deep conversation by the water. They simply stood there, side by side, both lost in their thoughts. The cool night air wrapped around them, and for a while, it felt like they were in a world of their own, far removed from the hustle and bustle of the planet's busy life. Eventually, Lyra broke the silence. I should take you back, she said softly, her voice still carrying the same calm tone as before. The others may wonder where we've gone. Adam nodded, though he wasn't sure he was ready to leave. Yeah, he replied, his voice quiet. I think I could stay here forever. She smiled at him, her eyes gleaming with something deeper, something he hadn't fully understood yet. There's a lot more to this world than meets the eye, she said, her words carrying a hidden weight. But sometimes, even we need to step away from it all. Adam didn't know what she meant, but he felt that there was more to Lyra's words than simple advice. She was hinting at something. She was speaking of things beyond the beauty of the lake, beyond the peaceful night. As they walked back toward the town, the lights of the market grew closer, and the sounds of the crowds filled the air once more. But Adam didn't feel the usual discomfort he had before, walking beside Lyra. Something in him felt at ease, like he belonged here, walking alongside her. Even though everything about this world was so different from home, they reached the busy streets, and Lyra stopped for a moment, turning to face him. Her expression was more serious now, though her eyes still held that soft light. Adam, she began slowly, I know you've only just arrived, but this world has a way of drawing people in. It's not always kind to outsiders. You may not realize it now, but things here aren't as peaceful as they seem. Adam raised an eyebrow. Not sure what she meant by that. You've mentioned that before, he said, his voice curious. But what exactly do you mean? Lyra's gaze turned distant, like she was seeing something beyond him, beyond the present moment. There are forces here, ancient ones that most people don't understand. They hide in the shadows, manipulating events without anyone knowing. It's not just the planet that is strange, it's the way everything here works. Adam was silent for a moment, processing her words. And you think I'm involved in all of this somehow? Lyra turned to face him fully, her gaze intense. Not involved, no. But you will be. There's something about you, Adam, something that makes you different from the others. It's hard to explain, but I can sense it. Your arrival here wasn't an accident. His heart skipped a beat. What do you mean? She placed a hand on his shoulder, her touch surprisingly gentle. I'm not sure yet, but I believe you have a role to play in the future of this world. And that future, like all futures, is uncertain. Adam wasn't sure how to respond to that. The weight of her words hung in the air, and for the first time, he realized that his presence here wasn't as simple as he thought. There was more to it, more at stake than just him being another human among many others on this alien planet. I don't know about that, Adam said softly, but I know that I want to learn more. I want to understand this world. And you, Lyra, you're the only one who seems willing to help me do that. She smiled faintly. I'll help, Adam, but you must promise me something. What's that? Don't let the mysteries of this world consume you, Lyra said, her voice lowering. Sometimes it's easier to walk away from things you don't understand, But the moment you dive too deep, there's no going back. I want you to be ready for what comes next." Adam looked at her, unsure whether to believe her. It seemed like such a big promise, one that he wasn't sure he could keep. But there was something in her eyes, something that told him she wasn't just speaking in riddles. She was warning him in her own way. "I'll be ready," Adam said, though even he wasn't sure if he truly was. The next few days passed in a blur of new experiences. Lyra took Adam to more places around the planet, places that showed him how different this world truly was. The alien cities, the creatures that roamed the fields, and the ancient temples hidden deep within the forests, each of them told a different story. A story that Adam was only beginning to understand. But no matter how much he learned, there was still one thing he didn't know, the thing that kept him awake at night, staring at the ceiling of his small quarters. What was his role in all of this? Why had he been brought here? He asked Lyra about it once, but she didn't give him a clear answer. She simply smiled and said, "You'll know when the time comes. The answers will reveal themselves. But you must be patient. There's much more to learn." But as the days turned into weeks, Adam found himself drawn deeper into the mysteries of this world and deeper into Lyra's life. The bond between them grew stronger with each passing day, and Adam found himself trusting her more than he ever trusted anyone else. There was a connection between them, something that went beyond friendship, beyond mere curiosity. It was a bond that neither of them had expected, yet neither of them could ignore. And as much as Adam wanted to know the truth about this world, about his place in it, part of him didn't want to face the answers. Some things, he realized, were better left unknown. Yet, deep down, he knew that the journey he was on with Lyra would change his life forever. Adam woke up the next morning with a sense of excitement and curiosity. The days had passed quickly since his first meeting with Lyra. He had learned so much about the planet and its people, but there was still so much more to discover. Today, Lyra had promised to take him to an ancient temple deep in the forest. It was a place that few humans had ever visited, and Adam felt both honored and nervous to go. He met Lyra at the edge of the town, where she had promised to wait for him. She looked as calm and composed as ever, her silver eyes bright with something he couldn't quite place. She smiled when she saw him. "Ready for the journey?" she asked, her voice light, as if this were just another walk in the park. "I'm ready," Adam replied, trying to sound confident, even though his heart was racing. He had never been into the deep forests of this alien world, and the idea of going there with Lyra felt both exciting and unsettling. They set off, walking through the winding paths that led deeper into the wild. The air felt fresh, almost otherworldly, as if the forest itself was alive with secrets. The trees towered above them, their massive trunks and thick foliage blocking out much of the sunlight. The sounds of alien creatures filled the air, and Adam couldn't help but wonder what creatures were hiding in the shadows. Watching them as they walked out, as they moved deeper into the forest, Adam felt a growing sense of unease. There was something different about this place. The usual calm and peaceful energy he had come to associate with Lyra's world seemed to be replaced by something darker. The trees whispered in the wind, their leaves rustling in a way that felt almost too deliberate. Lyra, however, seemed unfazed. She walked ahead confidently, her steps light and sure. She didn't appear to notice the change in the air, or if she did, she wasn't letting it show. Adam, on the other hand, couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. "Lyra, are you sure this is safe?" Adam asked, trying to keep his voice steady. Lyra glanced back at him, her expression unchanged. "It's perfectly safe. Trust me, Adam. This forest has always been here, long before humans ever came. It's just a place that holds memories, and sometimes memories can be a bit dangerous." "Dangerous?" Adam repeated, his curiosity growing despite his unease. "What do you mean?" "Some things should remain undisturbed," Lyra replied, her tone more serious now. "The temple we are going to is ancient. The people who built it have long since disappeared. But their energy stood light. It had the body of a beast, but the intelligence of a hunter. Its jaws were filled with sharp teeth that seemed to gleam." In the dim light, Adam took a step back, his fear making his legs feel weak. But Lyra was already moving. She stood her ground, raising her hands in front of her, her fingers glowing with a soft, green light. The creature hesitated for a moment, as if sensing something powerful in her. "Lyra, what is that thing?" Adam asked, his voice shaky. "A guardian," Lyra replied, her eyes never leaving the creature. "It's meant to protect the temple from intruders. It will not harm us if we don't provoke it." Adam's mind raced. He had heard about the dangers of ancient guardians, but he had never imagined something like this. The creature growled again, taking a step toward them, its eyes fixed on Lyra. Adam wanted to run, but he knew he couldn't leave Lyra. He trusted her, and if she said they would be safe, he had to believe her. The creature stopped just a few feet away from them, its massive body towering over both of them. Lyra stood her ground, her hands still glowing with the soft light. She spoke to the creature in a language Adam couldn't understand, her voice calm and steady. For a long moment, there was only silence, broken only by the rustling of leaves in the wind. The creature stared at them, its red eyes glowing brighter. For a moment, then, slowly, it backed away, retreating into the shadows from which it had come. Adam let out the breath he hadn't realized he was holding. His heart was still pounding, and his legs felt weak. He had never been so close to something so dangerous. He turned to Lyra, his eyes wide with disbelief. "What just happened?" he asked, his voice still shaky. Lyra lowered her hands, the glow fading from her fingers. "It recognized me," she said simply, "and it knows we mean no harm." Adam stared at her, still processing what had just happened. "But how did you do that? How did you make it leave?" "It's not about power," Lyra said, her voice soft. "It's about understanding. The Guardians are creatures of energy, just like us. They protect the things that matter, but they can also sense when someone is not a threat." Adam shook his head, trying to wrap his mind around it. He had been terrified just moments ago, but now, standing in the quiet aftermath, he felt a strange sense of awe. Lyra had done something that seemed impossible, and it had worked. "You're incredible," Adam whispered, his voice filled with admiration. Lyra smiled at him, a gentle, almost playful smile. "I just know how to listen, and sometimes the greatest power comes from understanding." Adam felt a deep respect for her in that moment. She wasn't just someone who could control the world around her. She was someone who understood it. And that, he realized, was something far more valuable than strength or power. They continued their journey through the forest, the danger now behind them. But Adam couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning. Whatever lay ahead, he knew one thing for certain: he was no longer just a visitor on this world. He was a part of something much bigger, something that he was only beginning to understand. The days after the encounter with the Guardian passed in a strange haze for Adam. The quiet, peaceful moments with Lyra seemed to be growing more frequent, but they were always followed by moments of unease. She was right, he thought. There was something about this world that felt different, something about the way time seemed to stretch and bend here. He couldn't ignore the feeling that things weren't as simple as they appeared. Despite his growing curiosity and admiration for Lyra, Adam couldn't shake the growing conflict inside him. Every day, they ventured further into the alien world, exploring places he could never have imagined before. Each place was more beautiful and more mysterious than the last, yet with each new discovery, he felt more like an outsider, more unsure of his place in it all. He found himself drawn to Lyra in ways he didn't fully understand. Her presence was calming, but it was also powerful. She seemed so sure of everything, so confident in the path she was walking. But Adam wasn't sure if he could ever walk that same path. He wasn't like her. He wasn't from here, and no matter how much he tried to convince himself otherwise, he knew deep down that he couldn't stay forever. As much as he enjoyed their time together, he couldn't ignore the feeling of isolation creeping in. He was a human on an alien world with no clear future. No matter how much he wanted to understand this place, no matter how much he wanted to learn from Lyra, there was always the reminder that he was just a visitor, someone who didn't belong. One evening, as the twin moons hung high in the sky, Adam sat on a low rock outside their camp. He looked out at the quiet landscape, the soft sounds of the forest echoing around him. Lyra had gone off to explore a nearby ruin, and for the first time in days, Adam found himself alone. The solitude was comforting but also unsettling. He had never felt so torn inside, caught between his growing feelings for Lyra and the undeniable truth that he wasn't part of this world. His thoughts were interrupted by a soft sound behind him. He turned to find Lyra standing a few feet away, her eyes soft but searching. "Is something wrong, Adam?" she asked, her voice gentle. But there was an edge of concern in her tone. Adam hesitated. He didn't want to burden her with his thoughts, but the emotions inside him were starting to feel too heavy to carry alone. He knew she would notice something was wrong eventually. I don't know," Adam said quietly, looking down at his hands. "I just feel I don't belong here. Every time I think I'm starting to understand things, I realize that I'm just not one of you. I don't know how to fit in here." Lyra was silent for a moment, studying him with her sharp, silver eyes. Then she slowly walked toward him and sat beside him on the rock. Her presence was calming, but Adam couldn't help but feel a twinge of sadness in her gaze. She understood what he was feeling more than he realized. "I don't know if I can stay here forever," Adam confessed, his voice barely above a whisper. "I don't know if I can be a part of something I don't understand." Lyra smiled softly, her gaze never leaving his. "You don't have to have all the answers right now, Adam. Just remember that this journey isn't about fitting in. It's about understanding. And sometimes, that understanding doesn't come all at once. It's like the forest slowly growing, changing with the seasons, never staying the same." Adam looked away, unsure of what to say next. He was so confused. He wanted to stay with Lyra, to learn more, but he also felt the pull of home, the life he had left behind. He couldn't just forget about Earth, about everything he had known before coming here. The thought of being caught between two worlds made his chest tighten. Lyra must have sensed his inner conflict, because she placed a hand gently on his arm. "It's okay to be uncertain, Adam. It's okay to feel conflicted. What matters is what you choose to do with those feelings. Will you let them control you, or will you find a way to use them to move forward?" Her words lingered in the air, and for a long moment, neither of them spoke. Adam felt the weight of her gaze on him, as if she were waiting for him to find his own answers, but he didn't have them yet. He didn't know what to do with the emotions swirling inside him. His connection to Lyra was growing, but so were his doubts. "I don't know if I can stay forever," Adam said again, but this time there was a sense of finality in his voice. "I'm not sure what my future is here." Lyra didn't seem angry or disappointed. Instead, she gave him a small, understanding smile. "That's okay," she said softly. "The future is never clear, but you're not alone in this journey, Adam. No matter what path you choose, I'll be here to help you find your way." Adam looked at her, his heart heavy with the realization that he had come to care for her deeply. But he also knew that his journey was far from over. He had more to figure out, more to understand, and maybe, just maybe, Lyra would help him find those answers. But for now, he had to take things one step at a time. As the night settled around them, Adam felt a sense of calm wash over him. The uncertainty didn't go away, but he no longer felt so alone in it. With Lyra by his side, maybe he could face whatever was coming next. The days were passing quickly, and Adam's connection with Lyra seemed to grow stronger with each passing moment. They spent hours together exploring the planet, discovering its secrets and wonders. With every new place they visited, Adam found himself more drawn to her, to the way she saw the world, so calm, so in tune with everything around her. But despite the bond they were forming, Adam couldn't shake the nagging feeling inside him. There was something he couldn't explain, something that pulled at his heart every time he looked at Lyra. It was late one evening when the weight of his emotions finally got to him. They were sitting by a small campfire outside a remote village, the warmth of the flames casting soft shadows round them. The night was peaceful, the only sounds being the crackling of the fire and the occasional chirp of the strange creatures in the distance. Adam had been quiet for a while, lost in his thoughts. Lyra, sensing his unease, sat beside him, her presence calming, like always. She didn't speak right away, giving him the space he needed to gather his thoughts. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, Adam spoke, his voice barely above a whisper. "Lyra, I don't know what to do," he said, the weight of his words heavy in the quiet air. She didn't turn to look at him, but he could feel her attention on him, steady and unwavering. "What do you mean?" she asked softly, her voice gentle. "I don't know if I can stay here," Adam confessed, his heart heavy with the truth he had been avoiding. "I feel like I'm caught between two worlds. I have a life back home, and yet being here with you, seeing this place, it's like I'm supposed to be here. But I'm not. I'm just a visitor. I don't belong." Lyra was silent for a moment, her eyes focused on the fire, as if thinking carefully about her response. "I understand what you're feeling, Adam. I do. It's not easy to find a place when you feel like you don't belong anywhere." She paused before continuing, her tone calm but thoughtful. "But belonging isn't always about fitting in. Sometimes it's about finding where you're needed, even if you don't fully understand why." Adam looked at her, surprised by her words. He had always thought that belonging meant being part of something bigger, something more established. But Lyra was making him see it differently. "I'm not sure if I can do that," he admitted. "I don't know if I can stay here, with everything so different. I don't even know what my role is here. I'm not like you, Lyra. I'm just human." Lyra turned to him then, her silver eyes locking with his. "And being human is what makes you special, Adam. Don't you see? The very thing that makes you feel like you don't belong is what gives you the power to change everything. You see the world differently than we do, and that perspective is something we need." Her words were like a spark, lighting something inside him. For the first time, Adam felt as though he wasn't just an outsider, but someone who could actually make a difference. He had always thought his place in this world was temporary, just another mission, another job to do. But Lyra's words made him realize that his presence here might mean more than he ever imagined. "I've always felt out of place," Adam said slowly, his mind beginning to shift, even back home. "I've never felt like I belonged, but maybe I can make a place for myself here. Maybe I can learn to see things the way you do." Lyra smiled at him, a soft, encouraging smile that made his heart feel lighter. "You don't have to have all the answers right now, Adam. It's okay to be uncertain, but you're already learning, and that's the first step." Adam's heart swelled at her words. It wasn't the answer he had been looking for, but it was enough. For the first time, he didn't feel completely lost. He felt like he was on the right path, even if he couldn't see the end of it yet. As the fire crackled between them, they sat in silence for a while, both lost in their own thoughts. The stars above sparkled brightly in the clear night sky, and Adam couldn't help but wonder if they were somehow guiding him, pointing him towards something he hadn't yet understood. After a long pause, Lyra spoke again, her voice quiet but full of meaning. "There's something special about you, Adam. I've known it from the moment I met you. But it's not just because you're human. It's because you care. You care about this world, about the people in it, and that's what makes you different." Adam was taken aback by her words. No one had ever spoken to him like that before. It wasn't just his actions she was recognizing, it was something deeper, something he hadn't even realized about himself, the realization that he could make a difference, that his feelings and actions could matter, felt both humbling and empowering. "I never thought of it that way," Adam said quietly, his eyes fixed on the fire. "I guess I've been so focused on the idea that I don't belong here, that I forgot I can still do something, even if I'm different." Lyra nodded, her expression soft but knowing. "It's easy to forget that. Sometimes we all get caught up in the idea that we have to fit into some mold, that we have to be like everyone else. But the truth is, the world doesn't need more of the same. It needs people who are willing to see things differently." Adam thought about her words, letting them sink in. He didn't need to be like Lyra or like anyone else. He just needed to be himself, and in doing so, maybe he could help bring something new to this world. The night grew quiet again, and for a moment, Adam didn't feel lost. He felt like he was exactly where he needed to be, and for the first time since he arrived on this strange world, he felt a sense of peace wash over him. Lyra's presence beside him felt like a promise no matter how uncertain the future was. He wouldn't have to face it alone. The days following their quiet conversation by the fire were filled with a new sense of purpose. Adam felt lighter, more at ease with his place in the world. He had come to terms with his feelings, his doubts, and his place here with Lyra. While there were still many questions left unanswered, he no longer felt as lost as he once had. Lyra, too, seemed to sense the change in him. Their conversations had become deeper, more meaningful. She no longer spoke to him like a stranger or someone who didn't belong. Instead, there was a comfort between them, a shared understanding that was growing stronger each day. They didn't need to explain everything to each other. There was an unspoken bond forming between them, built on trust, respect, and the shared journey they were on. One afternoon, after a long day of exploring the forest surrounding the village, Adam and Lyra sat at the edge of a clearing. The sun was beginning to set, painting the sky with shades of pink and orange. The air was cool, and the sounds of distant wildlife could be heard in the background. It was peaceful, but Adam felt a restlessness within him. He wasn't sure why, but something about the quiet made him think of the future, of the uncertain path ahead. Lyra seemed to sense his thoughts. "What's on your mind, Adam?" she asked, her voice soft as she turned to him. Adam hesitated for a moment, then sighed. "I'm thinking about everything we've learned, everything we've seen. This world is so different from anything I've known, and it's hard to imagine what the future will look like for me here." Lyra looked at him thoughtfully, her silver eyes reflecting the fading light of the sunset. "It's okay to feel uncertain. We all do, even when we think we know where we're headed. But I believe you're starting to understand what this world needs, and more importantly, what you need." Adam glanced at her, a small smile tugging at his lips. "I'm starting to think you might be right, but there's still so much I don't understand, so much I'm not sure about. Understanding doesn't always come in a straight line," Lyra said, her voice gentle. "Sometimes it's a journey, one step at a time. The path may not always be clear, but that doesn't mean you're lost." Adam nodded, feeling the truth in her words. The journey they were on together had been filled with unexpected challenges and discoveries. But with each new experience, he had grown stronger. He wasn't the same person he had been when he first arrived on this world, unsure and hesitant. He was learning to trust not just Lyra, but also himself. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the clearing, Lyra turned to face him. "There's something I've been meaning to tell you, Adam," she said, her tone serious now. Adam looked at her, his heart skipping a beat. "What is it?" Lyra paused, as if choosing her words carefully. "I've sensed something in you from the very beginning, something powerful. You may not fully understand it yet, but I believe it's what makes you different. You're not just here by chance. There's a reason why you've crossed paths with this world." Adam felt a knot form in his stomach. "What do you mean?" he asked, his voice barely a whisper. She placed a hand on his, her touch warm and reassuring. "You have a purpose here, Adam, a role that's still unfolding. And it's not just about what you can do for this world, it's about what this world can do for you. What you can learn, what you can become." Adam took a deep breath, trying to process what she was saying. He had always thought of himself as just another human trying to help, trying to make a difference. But Lyra's words made him realize that maybe there was more to it than that. Maybe he was here for a reason he couldn't yet understand. "I don't know if I'm ready for that," Adam admitted, his voice trembling slightly. "I still don't know if I even belong here." Lyra smiled softly, her gaze full of understanding. "No one ever feels ready at the start, but you've come this far, and you've learned so much already. The path ahead may not be easy, but I believe you're stronger than you think." Adam felt a surge of emotion as he looked at her. Her words, her faith in him, it was more than he could have ever hoped for. He realized then that no matter how uncertain the future was, he wasn't facing it alone. Lyra was with him, and that made all the difference. "I'll try," Adam said quietly, his voice filled with determination. "I'll try to understand. I'll try to make sense of all of this." Lyra's smile deepened, and for the first time in a long while, Adam felt truly at peace. The future still felt uncertain, but he knew that whatever it held, he wouldn't be alone. Lyra had shown him that, in a world so different from his own, there could still be a place for him, and perhaps, just perhaps, that was enough. As they sat together in the fading light, Adam realized that he didn't need all the answers right away. The journey was just beginning, and for the first time, he was ready to face whatever came next.